Hey folks, this is Tom, your frugal prepper. Um, we are out here today, and we are looking for corn. That's a rock, Wesley. That's not corn. Come down here in the corner. And what we're doing is gleaming corn. So, if you know a farmer, talk to them. And, oh, hang on, we got a hunter over here. Alright, folks. So we had to move over to the other side of the field here. Got some people out sighting in their rifles over there, so we wanted to be clear of them. So basically, what I was saying is if you want food and you want corn, and you know a farmer, talk to him, because you can come and pick up this corn like so. Get the kids and the family involved, and you can come and, in about every 5 minutes or so, we fill up a 5-gallon bucket full of corn, just off of what's left. Now, in this case, we've only got these couple rows we're gleaning through, and that's what this is typically called, is gleaning the field. It dates back to biblical times, people going through the fields after the harvest. But you want to stay away from the corn that's already up, because if you get caught picking that stuff, you're probably not going to be invited back, because they want to try to run as much through the combine as they can. That's their profits. And there's a nice big full ear right there that my friend just found. And where you're going to find the most corn at is in the corners. When the combine goes to turn, like he's done here in this corner, that's where it's going to miss the most. And like you said, sometimes it misses a whole stalk. In the straightaways, you don't find as much, but it depends on how good their combine's set up too. You might find some. So like, come right down here, and here's a whole pile of stalks full of big, full ears of corn. Take this home, you grind it into cornmeal, make corn mush out of it, make tortillas, you can do all kinds of stuff with this corn. And you can also seal it up in Mylar bags and store it. And it's free. Or you can use it to feed the birds and the squirrels. So far today we've gotten the corn. We found someone with an apple tree that let us pick a couple buckets worth of apples. And my wife's at home turning those into apple pie filling, canning them. And we got us a free bucket, 5-gallon bucket of soybeans too. So even in times are hard, there are places to find food still if you're willing to work for it. And this will be a common misconception here, or a commonplace thing if the shit ever does hit the fan, just as it was in the Great Depression. People go out and get food wherever they can. Alright, this is Tom, your frugal prepper. I'm going to get back to picking corn here off the ground, and I'll see you later. One thing I thought I'd just kind of show you here real quick is I always take my ears and peel them open before I throw them in the bucket. You can see all this mildew? That's one you don't want. That's the other thing that's better about doing this. And then the other thing is, if they've been laying on wet ground, you also don't want them, they look like that. Those almost look like maggots or something, but what those are is the corn sprouted. So that would be great for making some moonshine with, but not so great for making cornmeal out of. So I always go ahead and just peel the shucks off of them when I'm out in the field. That way I know I'm picking just the best stuff. Alright folks, so we got 2 big 5-gallon buckets full of corn, a few minutes of work here. Wouldn't have taken as long as we didn't have to move to the other side of the field because of the hunter sighting in his rifle. And there's Mr. Wesley. He's still looking for corn. Are you still looking for corn?
Yeah.
You gonna find me some more corn? We got room for a couple more. Better go get some corn. It's something fun for the family to do. Way to get you some corn to make some cornmeal. The other thing is, a lot of people will get the corn cobs. They're great for fire, so if you're really poor and you got no firewood and you need to heat your home and you got a fireplace, corn cobs actually make great fires in wood burning stoves, and you can always soak them in some water and use them for toilet paper too if you got an outhouse. I don't think you'd want to flush them down the toilet. But I guess that's it for now. We're gonna try to get a few more, and on the way back to the truck, which is down there in that corner, and then head back over to the house. Okay, folks, here's what we ended up with. We got all the buckets of corn back home. We picked about 3 buckets of ears of corn, and we ended up with 2 buckets of corn once we got it all off of the cobs. Which goes actually pretty fast doing it by hand. They make like these machines that do it too. I've seen some old like hand crank ones and stuff. Now I will say, if you're having the little ones help, I guess you gotta watch them, because my son was getting real excited and we were having a race to see who could do one the fastest, and then he says, "Daddy, my hand burns," and I looked and he had a nice size blister. So I guess I'll have to keep an eye on him next time. His little hands just don't have the calluses that mine do. And then the other thing we got over here is soybeans. So the farmer just gave me a bucket of soybeans because I asked. So I'll probably roast those up. I'll probably make some wasabi soybeans out of them. And then, I can seal them up and use them as snacks. But that's a good way to get free corn that you can either use right now, or what I will do with this probably is I'm going to let it dry out just a bit more. I'll probably go ahead and put a couple desiccant packs in here, and then seal it up temporarily and let it dry out good, and then go ahead and seal it up in a Mylar bag and freeze it to make sure there's no with corn you get corn worms, and you can get weevils and stuff like that in there, so you want to make sure you freeze it so that everything in there would be dead. But yeah, kind of an exciting, fun day. Free corn, family fun. I mean, a bucket like this would feed you for a long time. There's a lot of calories in that bucket of corn. And there's, look up cornmeal recipes. There's a ton of stuff you can make with cornmeal, and you have to think, like, even if you're, bugging out, or you've had to move from home and there's no food and you're trying to figure out what to do. If you find a field that's been harvested anytime recently, even if it's in the wintertime, if there's not too much snow on the ground, you can go through and look through that field. You can come out with some corn, and you can grind it up with some stones, or you could even just boil it like this if you had to, just to eat it for calories. But if you can grind it up with a couple of stones, till it turns into kind of a floury substance, and you can make all kinds of stuff with it. So that's one way to get calories. This is GMO corn. It's not Monsanto, it's another brand, but it is GMO. But I know it hasn't been hit with, normally most farmers spray 4 times a year. I think this has only been hit like once with the herbicides, and it's had no pesticides sprayed on it. So that's another thing. When you get it right out of the field, when they take it over and put it in the silos, it normally gets hit with pesticide again there before it gets stored long term to keep the bugs out of it. So you're actually eliminating a dose of pesticide out of your food supply. I really personally think that's mostly what's causing the damage from the GMOs. Isn't so much the GMO product itself. It's the fact that it's Roundup ready, and they load it up with Roundup, and then they load it up with more pesticide when they store it. The soybeans are also GMO. But hey, I'll eat GMOs. I'm not proud. Thanks. This is Tom, your Frugal Prepper.